It's summertime now. Everyone's eating fruits and stuff like that. Seedless. What are your thoughts on seedless grapes, seedless watermelon, seedless this, seedless that?
So it's interesting you say that. Things naturally do not grow without seeds.
Correct.
Hello, that part.
So is it seedless because somebody went in and picked out all the seeds from the watermelon? Probably not. It was probably modified in some way to grow without seeds.
Welcome to Salad with a Side of Fries. I'm your host, Jenn Trepeck, talking wellness and weight loss for real life. We're here to clear up the myths, misinformation, bad science, and marketing to teach you how to eat and how to cheat. Are you ready? I'm having salad with a side of fries.
Hey friends, welcome back to another episode of Salad with a Side of Fries. I'm your health coach and host, Jenn Trepeck, always here with you every week. And this week is going to be fun. That's like the only word I can put on it is fun. Well, maybe some educational too. So let me introduce you to our friends who are joining me. So we have the three gentlemen behind the My 5 Cents podcast. So I'm going to introduce each of you one at a time so everybody gets to know your voice. So first we have P, the logical genius.
What's up, Jen? What's up, everybody? I am the logical genius, the quote unquote smart one on the show, but you know, the other guys are pretty smart as well.
Right. Yeah. You're getting some looks there. All right.
Yeah.
Highly questionable.
Right. And that's So Jew. Welcome.
In the building, I am the storyteller of the crew. I'm going to give you an experience when you rock with me.
Right. And then last but certainly not least, Randy is here. Randy, you are also known as HLS, the habitual line stepper.
Yeah, that's me. I'm the fan favorite. HLS is here.
So welcome, friends. And so let's fill everybody in. So we met at a podcast conference back in March of 2023. And then you guys had me as a guest on your show.
Yeah, it was a great time.
Excellent.
Super fun. You made the smartest choice ever.
Well, right. So
no spoilers.
Questionable.
Exactly. We'll send everybody over to listen to that one. But we recorded and had a great time. And that episode inspired this one. So we're going to create some more magic. So I'm going to call this game So You Think It's Healthy.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So here's the deal.
Right contestants.
Seriously, because we failed miserably last time I felt.
Well, I think you guys got better because the ones that you sent me this time were definitely an upgrade from the ones that we talked about on your show.
Yeah. I mean, just to give you some feedback from our listeners, they were like, man, Jen killed you guys. She killed your list more than any other guest, any other judge in the past. She destroyed your list. But it was a fun episode, educational. It was great.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So I asked you guys, so here's what happened. So I asked each of you to send me a couple foods that you think are healthy or you think people think are healthy.
Yep.
And we're going to go through them, right?
Okay.
I also added a couple in there, so, and by the way, looking at the list, I think there might be some that surprise people. All right. So before we dive in super quick, I got to tell our members what they're getting this week. All right. So members, your recipe this week, it's honestly delicious. It's perfect for Labor Day weekend if you're having a barbecue. It's super seasonal, and it features this week's nutrition nugget food. So the recipe is for tomato salad with grilled corn, feta, and hazelnuts. And you could always swap out like the hazelnuts for something that is maybe more your jive. But I have to tell you, even if they're not your favorite, I think you're going to like them in this one. And then to help you have a healthier holiday, I'm sending you all an article that I wrote. I originally wrote it for July 4th, and we published it just before the 4th of July. But it's really like a couple tips for your healthiest holiday. So I'm going to send you guys that article as well. So if you want the recipe or the article, be sure you're a member. Go to glow.fm/salad with a side of fries. For $10 a month, you get weekly recipes, a monthly article or tool, extra discounts from me and our partners, plus access to live Q&A sessions. It's a total deal, dare I say a steal, when you take advantage of the full offerings. You're going to save far more than that $10 cost. I say it every time, but it is a no-brainer way to show yourself that your health is a priority. Plus, being a member supports this podcast and this community, so we can continue to do this with you every single week. And of course, it supports your health, right? So remember, you're going to go to glow.fm/salad with a side of fries, or just click the link in the show notes because that's way easier. Once you're there, you click support now, enter your email and payment method, click subscribe, and you're all set. You'll get this week's recipe for the tomato salad with grilled corn, feta, and hazelnuts, and the article 5 health tips for your holiday weekend. All right, here we go. So you think it's healthy. Let's try to do some snacks, and then we'll get into more of the meal things. Randy, kick us off. This one's yours, right?
Yeah, so I love dried apricots, right? It's fruit. It's got vitamin C. It's got vitamin A. It's chewy. It's like gummy bears, like a healthy version of gummy bear. I can just pop them like candy.
Yeah. How many do you typically have?
Oh, I don't count. Who counts these things?
All right. So therein lies the challenge, right? So you're exactly right. And I know you did your research, right? Vitamin A, vitamin C. But it's interesting because dried fruit really concentrates the carbohydrates and the sugar. So if you look at a whole cup of dried apricots, which is actually a lot, but a whole cup of dried apricots, it's 314 calories, 0.7 grams of fat, so not a lot of fat or no fat really, lots of potassium, and then it's the carbs. So it's 81 grams of carbohydrates, of which there's 9 grams of fiber, which is a lot, but 69 grams of sugar.
Wow.
And 4.4 grams of protein. So realistically, hopefully, we're not eating a whole cup.
Yeah.
Right? So proper portion size of dried apricots, take a wild guess. What do you guys think?
Half a cup?
Like
2 pieces?
3 or 4.
Yeah, okay.
So maybe
Who
that's
eats
more.
3 or 4?
I know.
Yeah, that's nothing.
I know.
That's like saying I'm thirsty and just splash water in my mouth.
Right. So they can be awesome, but we want to mix them in with other things and not just have them by themselves. So if we had 3 to 4 dried apricots with some almonds or walnuts, now we've got a snack. We got a little bit of that sweet thing happening. We kind of hit the spot.
Okay.
But Jen, what if HLS just wants a whole cup of dried apricots and doesn't want the almonds and the nuts? And
I know. Well, here's the deal. You're going to have that spike in blood sugar and then that drop. So you're going to feel satisfied for only a short period of time, and you're likely to feel tired. And then you're going to be like, why can't I keep my eyes open? I got to eat something again.
But it's fruit.
Well, it's dried fruit. So what happens when we dry the fruit, right? We lose a lot of that hydration, a lot of the water content of fruit. So you'd be better off eating like the whole apricot and having some of that bulk in there with all the same protein and fiber. But then, it's not as much sugar.
So Jen,
wait, yeah.
I want to just say thank you because HLS be falling asleep during our recordings, and we were wondering why this is. Now we have figured it out. It's the apricot.
The whole cup. Don't eat the whole cup, HLS.
Yeah. The real reason is because Logic Martinez puts me to sleep every episode. But that's a whole nother story.
Right. I'm like, I feel the need to step in. Like, you did not fall asleep when I was there. Right.
I did not.
He has this ability to sleep with his eyes open. So
right. Yeah, that's really what's happening. All right. All right. Let's do the next one. What you guys got? Oh, this one. Go for it.
Well, Jen, I love chips. My snack of choice are potato chips, any kind of chips. Any new flavor I see out there, I'll try it. So, I started switching over to veggie chips because it's the healthier alternative because it's quote unquote veggies. And
you can't go wrong with that.
You can't, right? So true if you can't. How can you go wrong with veggie?
I'm with you on that.
Veggie.
I got the veggie chips as well. I'm with you on that.
They label veggie in the very beginning and they put in big words. So you're like, oh my God, this is the healthy alternative, So what's wrong with that, Jen? Why is that bad for me?
So I love these because they're like the perfect example of the thing, like you said, that's sold to us like we're doing the healthiest thing in the world for ourselves. So I looked up the Good Health brand veggie sticks.
Yep.
Okay. Want to make sure we're talking about the same things. And I know there's the ones that are more in like the other shape, like not the sticks, but the round whatever, still not veggies.
There's the one like Pringles.
Yeah, exactly. So these were the sticks that I looked at the label for. And this was sea salted. And then it says with 30% less fat, right?
There you go.
They are marketing to us like mad. So this one's funny. The serving size is 1 ounce, but they estimate that to be about 80 sticks. So that seems like a lot, but like not going to lie, you're going to eat a couple at a time. Or at least I eat a couple at a time.
I can go through a bag in one outing by myself. I can do that, which is bad.
So in that one serving of about 80 sticks, it's 130 calories. Not so bad, but also calories aren't the whole thing, right? We want to know what the calories are made of. So we have 7 grams of fat. Let's see what else is here. 20 grams of carbohydrates, 1 gram of fiber, no sugar, 1 gram of protein. So really all this is giving us is carbs. And nothing nutritionally to balance those carbohydrates. So you guys were giving HLS a hard time for falling asleep, but I'm not going to lie. I think you guys are also falling asleep after these veggie chips.
Let them know.
Right.
But wait, Jen, isn't there something to be said that there's 0 grams of sugar? I mean, I feel like that's a good thing, right?
Fair.
I mean, this is a lot of carbs, but there's no added sugars. It's 0. I mean, 0 is always good.
There's no added sugar, but there's also no nutrition, right? Like it's not giving us anything.
True.
Right? So, and then, right, they're sold to us as like the veggie chips things. So I went to look at the ingredients. First ingredient, potato starch. Second, dehydrated potato. So essentially we have potato chips. Then we have sunflower oil or safflower oil, which again, at least it's not, hydrogenated, but also not my favorite source of oil, like not my favorite source of fat. Then rice flour, then salt. So we still haven't gotten to a vegetable. I mean, potatoes, okay, kind of. But all right, then we have dehydrated garlic, then dehydrated tomato. So we finally got a vegetable, but I feel like they're using it as coloring, right? Then potassium chloride, paprika extract for color, dehydrated spinach, dehydrated parsley, dehydrated green pepper, dehydrated oregano, turmeric for color, radish extract for color, and carrot extract for color, and then sea salt. So I see your face. What do you?
Yeah.
So what you're saying to me is that it doesn't provide any nutritional value. So it's kind of like corn, right? Is that what we're saying right now?
Basically.
Okay. Thank you.
I mean, is it better than a typical potato chip? Probably. But
Maybe.
Is it calories that are doing something for us? No.
Is it better than a baked chip? A baked potato chip?
We have to look up. I don't have my phone sitting next to me. We'd have to look it up. Like I haven't looked at like Baked Lays in a long time to see what they're doing. But sometimes those will have sugar. Sometimes those will have hydrogenated oil.
Yeah.
So it kind of just depends. It's a little bit of a toss up. But
it sounds like you wouldn't recommend it to be your vegetable replacement for the day.
Correct. Because we're looking for our vegetables to be giving us fiber. Right? When I always say protein and fiber at every meal, the fiber we're looking for from vegetables and fruit. And this had like no fiber.
No fiber.
Yeah. What was it? It was 1 gram. But that's not giving us what we're looking for from the vegetable. So this would qualify as like the empty calorie.
So we've been lied to that it really isn't veggie chips.
The marketing.
Right?
Bamboozled.
Bamboozled indeed.
Exactly. Okay. So the next one on the list I sent to you guys because this one I get all the time. Go for it. Somebody throw it out there.
You said Kind bars, which I used to get on a regular basis for a while. I had like a 1-year binge when I discovered it because they taste great. And I'm like, oh, it's healthy. It's
all natural.
Now you're telling me there's
right?
more lies.
I know. So this one's a funny one because there's sort of pros and cons. Right. And I will say when I went to look at them to put notes together for our conversation, they were better than what I remembered. So maybe they've improved some things. But so what I like about them is that they're usually cleaner ingredients than a lot of other things. And the founder of the company, I think is a great guy. I love his story. You know, if you're a Shark Tank watcher, you've probably seen him there.
Yeah, I love that Shark Tank.
Yeah. So I like him. I like the mission, but I think is more fat and more sugar than people realize. And again, it's fat from nuts. So generally, right? So I'm cool with that. But it's just the awareness piece of what we're actually getting, right? So according to their website, their best-selling flavor, dark chocolate, nuts, and sea salt. The ingredients were almonds, peanuts, chicory root fiber, honey, palm kernel oil, don't like that, sugar, glucose syrup, don't like that, rice flour, unsweetened chocolate, alkalized cocoa, sea salt, soy lecithin, natural flavor, and cocoa butter. So like, there's a couple things in there that are kind of iffy.
I have not even heard of some of these things.
Right.
Oh, silly. Nobody's eating that.
Oh my goodness.
Different but similar. But like essentially, so that bar has 15 grams of fat. And what we're seeing is that a lot, like, yes, almonds and peanuts, but there's also this palm kernel oil, which no one needs. It's not a great source of fat. There's like 2 or 3 different kinds of sweeteners in there. So total carbs, 16, 7 grams of fiber, 5 grams of sugar, 6 grams of protein. So here's what's interesting. 7 grams of protein is like 1 egg or like 1 ounce of a cooked meat.
Wow.
So it's not a lot if we're looking for a snack. Like what it's giving us as a snack is mostly fat and carbs. There is a decent amount of fiber in there with 7 grams. Like that would hit, you know, our benchmark of 5. But, you know, just pros and cons, right? Like know what we're getting instead of like going in blindly.
So why is fiber so important to the package deal?
Yeah, great question. So fiber is the scrubbing bubbles of our intestines.
Scrubbing bubbles.
Right? So fiber keeps us satisfied for longer. It slows the rate that food enters our system. So it keeps us full for longer. It gives us sustained energy. And it also helps with elimination. And by elimination, I mean poop.
Yep. That was clear.
Right.
So them being the scrubbing bubbles, does that explain bubble guts that I have sometimes?
I think that's gas.
Oh, scrubble bubbles.
But we might have to have another conversation offline about your bubble guts.
Listen, I'm not the only one with bubble guts. Don't make it seem like I'm the only one in this group of bubble guts.
Right.
Everyone goes through bubble guts. Okay.
So funny. I mean, that could be a bunch of things, but we do need fiber. Our objective is to get a minimum of 25 grams of fiber per day, hopefully from vegetables and fruit, rather than like from processed foods or foods that have a ton of fiber added to them. Work your way up. The average American eats 10 or less grams of fiber. So if you were to flip a switch and all of a sudden you're eating 35, 40 grams of fiber tomorrow, you'll have what I think you mean by bubble guts, right? So work your way up. But yes, we would all be served by more fiber in our nutrition.
I have a question for you, Jen.
Okay.
Some of these ingredients that you mentioned. So why is it that some of these companies use the particular ingredients like you mentioned, like the type of oil? Like, is it a manufacturing thing to cut down costs? Is it to, you know, whatever the case may be, you know, why choose a certain ingredient over another one?
Yeah. A lot of times it's cost, shelf stabilization, like shelf life.
Okay.
You know, and even shelf life in their factory, right? Like if they're going to buy this product, they got to make sure it lasts. But I think above all, it ends up being cost. And then, you know, people are going to get mad if, especially with like Kind bars and the way they're in that clear, I mean, frankly, any packaging, but like if it started to grow mold while it, you know, hadn't been open yet, we'd be annoyed. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of layers to it, which is just altogether more frustrating, right? Because we can't really trust what's on the front of a package.
Yeah.
This is true. This is true.
Which actually brings us to our next one, because this is another one that looks like it's going to be healthy. Right? P, this is yours, right?
Oh, you're talking about my smoothie?
Yeah.
Yeah. So a number of years ago, like most people, I got into smoothies, and my first venture was probably, there's a bottle of smoothie product or whatever on the shelf. We pick it up. It's fruit. It's blended fruit. It must be great. And then when I started to make it myself, I was looking at different recipes online and making it. And it said, put an apple, celery, oranges, whatever fruits you want. But then I'm looking at it compared to some of the ingredients in these pre-made smoothie like products. And I'm like, wait, what about this stuff that they're adding that I can't pronounce? And what about this stuff that they're adding I can't pronounce? Why doesn't my smoothie have this stuff? Why are they adding it to theirs? So that raised a lot of questions for me.
Yeah. So I looked at the Naked brand Green Machine flavor.
That's the one I go to.
That one's delicious.
Okay. You know why it's delicious?
Why?
Because it has 53 grams of sugar.
Yeah.
Okay, so this one, no fiber, which is the reason for having vegetables, 63 grams of total carbohydrates. So to calculate the net carbs, which are the carbohydrates that are going to spike our blood sugar, you take the total carbohydrates and subtract the fiber. And then if it's listed, sugar, alcohols, or glycerin, okay, which they're not listed, so we don't subtract anything. So the net carb is still 63.
Wow.
We want...
Jen, you always have us doing math.
I know, right?
We got clowned out of our last episode because our math was all off. But
Right.
I just know something about a fist. That would cover.
Wait, so hold on. We want our net carbs to be a single digit number, so like 9 or below. And this is 63.
Yeah, 63 is way beyond single digits.
Right?
Math does not add up.
And then it has 4 grams of protein and some vitamins and minerals. Long story short, when you read the ingredients, it's mostly juice. They're using mostly juice, some puree of fruits, and then low on the list, you get to some greens. And so that's why we have tons of sugar and not as much of the other nutrients that we're really looking for. Overall, like general rule, chew your food. Right? Because we were talking about the fiber before, right? Yeah. That it slows the absorption of the food into our system. That slowness, that speed happens because our body is doing the work to break down the food, okay? To break the vegetables into the fiber and get everything out of it. Like that takes time. We want it to do that. The more work the machine does, the less work our body does. So a smoothie, the machine's doing all the work of breaking that down. Our body isn't. So it goes through our body a lot faster, right? So juices and smoothies essentially concentrate all the sugar and eliminate all the fiber.
What about at-home smoothie? Is that a better option?
Yeah, better. Stick to more vegetables than fruit in your smoothie. And then use your smoothie on occasion or as an added thing, or maybe it helps you get like a lot of the vitamins and minerals from some vegetables that you maybe wouldn't eat, but it's not giving you the fiber, right? So on occasion, in the mix of things, but more often than not, chew your food.
So Jen, we actually have a fourth person in our crew, and he's behind the scenes. He's R&D Rob, okay? And R&D Rob is the slowest eater that I know. So when you talk about chewing, he chews, and I mean, I could have finished 2 meals. He's still working on the one.
Good for him.
Are you telling me that he is getting more fiber intake?
Great question. No. It's not the speed we eat that gets us the fiber. It's the fiber that slows. Once we eat it, the fiber, the more fiber, it takes longer for the food, for like our digestion to release the energy into our system. So it gives us sustained energy. By taking longer to eat, he actually gives time for the gut and the brain to communicate and to know when he's full. So he probably doesn't eat as much because he's eating slower and he has time to figure things out.
Wait a minute. Using that logic, right? So are you saying that if I start swallowing my vegetables whole, my body's going to work so much harder to digest and break down the food, as impossible as that may be?
So it's interesting because digestion starts in the mouth with chewing. Your saliva has
breaks down the food.
enzymes that start to break down food. Chewing and masticate, like it's called masticating, chewing the food and the release of saliva starts to send signals to the stomach that food is coming to be ready for it. So you don't want to skip the chewing part.
That's a good point, because I remember my high school chemistry teacher, every time I was chewing gum in the class, he would ask me,
Are you hungry?
Something. No, he said, did you eat anything? And I said, no. He's like, don't chew gum because it's tricking your brain to activate your stomach acids and you're not ingesting anything.
Yes, we did a nutrition nugget on gum talking exactly about that.
Oh, I thought your teacher was going to say stop masticating in class. All right. All right.
That too. All right. So I feel like a lot of people eat smoothies for breakfast, which made me think of oatmeal.
Yes. I actually put oatmeal in my smoothie.
Oatmeal can't be bad. First of all, hold up. Oatmeal cannot be bad.
So it depends, right? Oatmeal is you got to be careful because, again, the more work the machine does, the less work our body does. So the instant oatmeal where you just need hot water, the quick oatmeal where it cooks in 60 seconds, a machine had to do work to the grain to get the grain to a place where it can cook that quickly. So it becomes a processed food, much higher glycemic, more likely to spike our blood sugar than if we're eating old-fashioned or steel cut. So steel cut, where it takes a while to cook, is our best bet.
Okay.
And then we still want to make sure that we're building a balanced plate with protein, fiber, quality fat. So when you take the raw oatmeal and throw it in your smoothie, it can add some bulk, but essentially we're just turning that grain into more of a powder or a flour.
Yeah.
Not really giving us the fiber.
Jen, it's the same oat.
It's now been processed.
Yeah,
Okay, so then outside of the loss of fiber, right, from your body not digesting, are there any nutritional benefits to? I don't know off the top
You're
of my head.
generally going to have more protein and less fat in less processed foods, depending on the food, right? Now I'm making massive generalizations and someone's going to come at me. So slow your roll, everybody. Don't come at me. But right. But
you got the Quaker Oats guy in the background, right?
Totally. But generally, the more processed a food is, the more nutrition we lose from the original whole food. So, sometimes we can maintain some of the vitamins and minerals, but a lot of times, if you start to look at all your cereals where it says fortified, right? That means they're adding those vitamins back in because they lose it.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
I know. Mind blown.
Yeah.
Well, if we're going to talk about vitamins, we got to talk about this next situation we got going on here. And
all right.
I know this is good for you, right? Because you are combining water with vitamin.
Yes.
Vitamin water. I mean, 50 Cent had his hand in this. So it's got to be good, right? Vitamin water. If you miss out on your multivitamin, just drink vitamin water.
So growing up in Detroit, I love 50 Cent, but vitamin water is really sugar water with some vitamins in it.
But it says vitamin on the bottom.
I know. Isn't that wild?
Veggie chips. It says veggie and then chip.
Vitamin.
So the normal vitamin water, I looked at the orange flavor, 60 milligrams of caffeine, which, it's nothing, but it's not as much as a Starbucks cup of coffee, right? The only thing on the nutrition label is 27 grams of carbohydrates, which is 27 grams of sugar, which is 27 grams of added sugar. So it's water, fructose, crystalline fructose, and then less than 0.5% of, and then they start to list all the vitamins.
Wow.
So 100% you are better off eating vegetables and fruit than drinking vitamin water.
Are you saying that 50 Cent played me?
You could take that up with him.
Oh, get rich or die trying.
Right? The vitamin water 0, by the way, because people ask about that one. It does have no sugar, but it uses a bunch of other sweeteners and things in there, like stevia leaf extract and monk fruit extract. So there are still sweeteners in there, So it's better than the original. Having said that, it can still keep us addicted to that sweet taste. So it'll keep us craving sweetness rather than like if we actually eat some fruits and vegetables.
Is there anything you could add to your water that's not fruit to make it more flavorful? Whether it be a Crystal Light or a Mio or
what do you mean
more?
by not fruit?
Like, so some people like infuse their water with fruit. Like they'll put strawberries in there and cucumbers in there.
Yeah.
And, you have cucumber water.
Yeah.
I'm talking about like the Mio, like those drops.
You could. I mean, I think some of those drops, like I'd have to look at those. I haven't looked at those in a long time. Like they used to have flavored stevia. Like this was probably 15 plus years ago. I had a client who was using like vanilla flavored stevia and putting a couple drops in her water. So it can make your water more palatable, I suppose, but it's still going to keep you addicted to that taste of sweet, but you're much more in control about how much you're having.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So there is some benefit to doing it yourself. I see so many questions.
Yeah, I'm more with, if we're going to stick with water for a second there, because my mom keeps swearing by this, is having hot lemon water in the morning.
Yes.
Now, is that just my mom,
No, she is right.
telling me a lie, or is this a real thing?
Warm water with lemon in the morning is good for the gallbladder. The gallbladder helps process fat. It can also help with, this is not so technical, but I also find that it sort of helps with digestion, even though it's really about the gallbladder. But so sometimes like, yes, in the morning for the gallbladder, but also like if I'm out to dinner and everybody's ordering coffee at the end of the meal, like I'll get hot water with lemon.
Really?
But like warm water, I think is better because then it's palatable and you can actually drink it.
Well, then would tea and lemon be, I know tea has a lot more caffeine in it than obviously
maybe
water.
It depends what kind of tea you have.
That kind of tea, yeah. I'm a big like green tea drinker over black tea.
And tea is also awesome because there's generally so many herbs in tea and you can get the benefit of the herbs by making tea with it.
Okay.
You can also make weed tea. I had it in Jamaica. This is a story for another day. I shouldn't even. This is a story for another day. All I will tell you.
Members, there's a bonus episode. Right.
Line up to be a member.
Right. So I wouldn't necessarily do that with whatever you have available to you, but you can get the impact of what's in the tea, like the herbs and things in the tea.
Oh, I'm sure you'll get the impact of what.
Right. Okay. So, all right. So we got through some snacks, some breakfast things. We're going to shift into some like more meal things. But first, let's take a break for our partner for this episode. Good?
Let's do it.
All right, friends, if you're a fan of Salad with a Side of Fries podcast and looking for how you can support us, we've got you covered with our awesome merch. So we have things you wear like the V-neck tee and the crew neck, leggings, joggers, to things that support your health, like a variety of drink tumblers, a yoga mat, a tote bag, perfect for your next grocery run. It's all the perfect gear to show off your love for our podcast, but more importantly, to share your love of Salad with a Side of Fries with others. And you get to tell us whether you are hashtag Team Salad or hashtag Team Fries. So head over to our website, asaladwithasideoffries.com/merch to browse through the full collection. We've already had 2 items go out of stock. One's back, but all I'm going to say is jump on it before the thing you want is gone. So snag the official Salad with a Side of Fries mug, perfect for sipping your favorite brew while enjoying our latest episode. Or go for the portable Bluetooth speaker or earbud case. I mean, the right accessories for a podcast listener, right? So you can take a piece of the podcast with you wherever you go. Maybe these are your best anchors to even remind yourself of your commitment to yourself and your health. So simply text the word fries, FRIES, to 844-947-4846. You'll receive the link right to your phone. Check out all the Salad with a Side of Fries merchandise. Your purchase supports all the work we do here, shows your podcast pride, and maybe it sparks a conversation for you to pay it forward and inspire somebody else to change their health too. So again, you're going to text the word fries, FRIES, to 844-947-4846. This is a toll-free number. Standard text and data rates may apply. All right. gentlemen of the My 5 Cents podcast. What we got next?
So if I'm on a road trip and I want to eat something that's kind of junk foody for a road trip, but still healthy, I go to the convenience store and I get one thing. I get the Lenny and Larry's complete cookie, right? It's got healthy ingredients. It's got the sweetness I like, and it's super filling. Tell me that's not good.
Key word is complete. I mean, that says
it all. So this one's tricky.
Okay. I had to stump you.
Well, how much is a serving? Do you know?
I don't. I hope it's just one cookie.
It's probably half. It's probably like a crumb of the cookie. Oh my God!
Serving is a piece that falls off in the packaging.
Correct.
We are failing.
Half the cookie is the serving size.
That's crazy.
In half the cookie, 6 grams of fat, 30 grams of carbs, 5 grams of fiber, 12 grams of sugar, of which 9 grams are added sugar, and 8 grams of protein. So about 1 ounce of protein. So 1 ounce of protein, give or, more or less, 5 grams of fiber, 6 grams of total fat is not terrible for a snack. Now, we haven't looked at the ingredients yet, but that's not terrible. If we were running around and needed something, the challenge is most of us aren't eating half of that cookie.
No, we're not. You
right?
can't save half a cookie. Who does that? Who does that?
Right.
Nobody.
So, womp, right? Then we get to 59 grams of total carbohydrates with 10 grams of fiber. So now your net carb is 49. Like, it's still a lot of carbs and a lot of sugar.
Yeah.
I should have said that too. Even the net carb on the half cookie is 25. So no bueno there, right? Like, if we were going to try to manage the net carb on that, we'd be having half of that.
Yeah.
And now we're at a quarter of a cookie. Who does that? Right? That is one bite. Right. Okay.
Ooh, it's a quarter cookie.
Right?
That's like if you're stranded on an island and you have one cookie.
And you have to share.
Right.
People. Yeah.
Exactly. I'm stranded with you two guys. I'm eating all the cookie.
Right.
I believe it. I believe it.
And then it's
deal with all the carbs
interesting.
So.
Yeah. And then on their ingredients, so the first ingredient is enriched wheat flour. So remember we were talking about where like the vitamins are added back in? Enriched wheat flour means all the vitamins were added back in.
Really?
Protein blend. So they use wheat gluten, not my favorite, pea protein and rice protein. Then chocolate chips. And then inulin, which is a kind of fiber, cane sugar, invert sugar, vegetable glycerin, palm fruit oil, sunflower lecithin, natural flavor, baking soda, salt, xanthan gum, and guar gum. So we could certainly do better. This is a processed food. I would actually say go back to your 3 to 4 dried apricots with some nuts or an actual piece of fruit. And my favorite bar of sorts for these kinds of things is the Think brand and the creamy peanut butter flavor.
Okay.
It has protein. It has about 3 ounces of protein if memory serves. And then it has no fiber, but I can have that with a piece of fruit. And now I got a solid snack.
Yeah.
Or grab a bag of carrots or something and the bar. I feel like I've totally blown up your world.
I mean, I'm struggling to comprehend because nothing's good for you.
Seriously, nothing is good for you other than a bag of carrots.
Well, there's more than that, but the bottom line is that everything we're looking at is stuff that has a label.
This is true.
All right, take us to the next one.
All right, so I'm trying to cut carbs. We all talking about carbs. And I'm trying to get rid of bread. White bread, wheat bread, trying to get rid of it. But I'm a huge fan of sandwiches. Super easy on the go. So I swap it with tortilla wraps.
Okay.
Right? Put anything in a wrap. Just wrap it up and go.
Okay.
It's one slice of bread in theory. Tell me that's not good.
In theory.
Everything's in theory today.
Yeah.
Right. So I looked at the Mission brand flour tortilla.
Yes.
Admittedly, I don't know what size tortilla this is, but 140 calories, 3 grams of fat, 1 gram of saturated fat. Check. Those are all fine. 400 milligrams of sodium feels like a lot. I don't really look at that. But that just sort of struck me as like, it seems like a lot for a flour tortilla that has essentially no flavor. And then 26 grams of carbohydrates, 1 gram of fiber, 1 gram of sugar, 4 grams of protein. So our carbs are just way up there, which depending on the bread you choose, right? We're sort of comparing apples to nothing, right? Like,
Yeah.
but we could do better. There are also some of these like low carb, high fiber, high protein wraps that admittedly, some of them taste like cardboard.
Yes.
Yeah.
Some of them, like there's Mission, I think the same brand has one that has a ton of fiber, some more protein, but you have to toast it. Like I tried it once not toasted and I was like, this is gross. Like I just can't.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
then
I was
there's
going to ask
one,
you about the variations, right? Because you have like the spinach version or the tomato version.
Yeah.
I mean, is that not any better? It's just basically the same thing with just some food coloring. Like
basically, they're basically the same with a little bit of whatever that vegetable is thrown in at the end, the ingredient list to give it a color. It makes us think that it's better though, doesn't it?
It does.
Right? It's green.
It's spinach.
Right?
Labeling. The market.
I know.
Geniuses.
Exactly.
Guys, I think we just need to come up with our own fiber tortilla and just.
So they exist. They are out there. But just taste them, you know, like, and like I said, the Mission brand one that has tons of fiber that I think it's like called Carb Watcher is the kind of brand, you know, is the kind, like, as long as you toast it, they're delicious.
Yeah. Yeah. They're versatile.
Yeah. There are some that are like tons of protein made out of egg whites. It literally tasted like eggs. So fair warning, but.
Oh my goodness!
You know.
I'm about to put the Eucharist up there.
I know.
What's the nutritional fact to the Eucharist there? The body of Christ.
I mean, that one's beyond me. I don't know. I can't take that one. All right. The next one I gave you, we'll skip for the sake of time.
Okay.
So, all right. So, go to.
This is mine.
All right. Go for it.
This is my last one. Okay. And I brought it up because I'm not sure about healthy. It sounds very suspect for me because I did this for a little bit, but something about getting meat in these like Ziploc bags that are like sealed or glued, but meal box delivery services. Sounds a little bit sus for me. I canceled my subscription because I was like, wait a second, something about this just doesn't seem right.
So it's funny.
Profile in my thinking.
Right. No, I mean, you're not entirely wrong. I did a whole episode in February of 2022 called Meal Kits Unpacked. And we walked through a ton of the different kind of like food delivery things. It's not that wild. I mean, they're kind of in a food manufacturing place and do you remember like the old like late night infomercials and there was like the vacuum seal thing? Yeah. Like that's essentially what they're doing with the protein. So it's not as sus as it looks.
Okay.
But you got to be pretty savvy when it comes to these things, right? So I did a quick look on the HelloFresh because you sent me HelloFresh. So I did a quick look on their website at like the meals that they were promoting. And of like 12 or 15, there were like 2 that you probably didn't need to modify in some way. So admittedly, I did HelloFresh for a little while. And I just like, if it came with rice, I just didn't make the rice and I ate the rest of it. You know, if it was like a burger, I just didn't use the bun and I had the burger and the other things that came with it. I would avoid choosing the pastas, the mac and cheese. Like if it looked like something that was going to be hard to not use all the pieces, then I wouldn't do it. But then admittedly, like I just fell behind and then I had that meat in the dry thing and I put it in the freezer because I'm like, well, there's nothing wrong with this. But then it like was in my freezer for years and that's definitely a me problem. I get that, but.
No, but here's my thing about that. Because I still have some of that meat in my freezer that's probably 2 years deep. It didn't brown. And I said, wait a second.
Well, if it's in the freezer.
Frozen and it's vacuum
packed. But for 2 years?
Well, once it's in the freezer.
No,
the air is what browns the meat. Yeah.
Yeah, you good, homie? Throw it on the grill for Labor Day weekend.
No way am I good.
Right.
So wait a minute. So here's the thing with the I guess food delivery services. To me, I guess it is healthy because for the most part they're using real ingredients.
Correct.
it just doesn't make sense for me because it's like, well, I could just run to the grocery store and pick up those same 3 or 4 ingredients. And the only thing they're really giving me is the portion and probably the recipe.
If they give you the recipe, everything's in the right proportion. So like you don't have to measure the spices. It's like all of this goes in there.
Yeah.
You know, so there's an ease factor to it. There's a I don't have to think about it factor to it. But also, if you're not thinking about it and you're just following everything they give you, you know, like you want to look at it. And
You're not paying attention. Yeah.
Right. And I've done other meal delivery things. And it's funny because just like they spend the calories in places that I wouldn't if I was making something for myself. And this one that I'm thinking of in particular, like it wasn't as easy to modify as the one where like you're making it yourself, like it was coming already made, you know? But it's like they put a ton of cheese in it. Like I would rather more chicken and less cheese. Right? So it's like they spend the calories in ways that I wouldn't necessarily if I was making my own food.
Get that.
So you do you. If it makes it easier and it gets you eating, like you said, Pete, like whole food, like do it.
Yeah. Good point. Good point.
So
for me, I mean, I feel like people know. We know, but we don't want to know, right?
Yeah.
Because it's the big question mark, like, what is it? So I said Beyond Meat and the Impossible Burger. Stuff. So a few years ago, I became like a vegetarian, right? And then I kind of like, nah, I'm not against meat. But then I stopped eating red meat and focused more on like plant-based foods and some fish here and there. But I haven't done red meat, chicken, beef, pork in a number of years, probably 5 or 6 years at this point.
Okay.
So like many people who miss eating burgers and chicken nuggets and all of that stuff, when this Beyond Meat and Impossible Burger stuff came out, you're like, oh my gosh, it's not meat, it's plant-based, so it must be great for you. But tell me or tell us why it's not.
Well, so it kind of depends why somebody's eating this, right? Fundamentally, for somebody who is truly vegetarian, this doesn't taste good to them because these are all designed to taste like animal protein. So generally, the people eating this are people who would otherwise eat animal protein, right?
Fair.
Now this is me, not, everybody who's going to come at me. So I believe that a lot of the issue that we see in the body that's been attributed to red meat is more a function of the quality of the meat that most of us are likely having. So I personally, if my client came to me, I would prefer that they eat an organic grass-fed beef something than Impossible. If it's someone who hasn't eaten meat in years and years and they taste this, it may not taste good to them, right? Somebody who hasn't eaten meat in years and years and tries, organic grass-fed beef, that may also not taste good to them.
True.
But what can happen is that when we don't eat something for a long time, our body will stop producing the enzymes needed to break it down. So for some people, if you go years and years without eating meat and then you try steak versus like a fish or something that's maybe a little easier on the system, we can have some backlash, right?
Bubble guts.
Right? So,
Bubble guts.
Jen, I have to thank you again because I think you've unsolved another mystery for us. So pretty much, Logical Genius's bubble guts is he's cheating on his diet. That's the enzymes are no longer producing, and he said,
Right.
"You know what? Let me just get a piece of this nugget, and then boom, bubble guts."
So maybe it depends. But I will say I'm not a fan of, in general, I'm not a fan of Impossible and Beyond because they are highly processed using like genetically modified I can't even call it a crop, genetically modified substances, fats like sunflower oil and things that we really don't need, lots of additives. It's not a whole food. It's a highly processed food that is designed to taste like meat.
Yeah.
So, like if you were to have like a 4-ounce burger, you'd be getting 4 ounces of protein. Looking at the Impossible Burger, a 4-ounce burger gives you like 2.5 ounces of protein. So there's a lot of other stuff in there, right? And then 14 grams of fat. 8 of which are saturated fat. Now, again, how does that compare to a grass-fed beef burger? Like, I don't even know because I don't have it in front of me. But if we talk about our health is served by eating whole food, this is not a whole food.
Yeah. Okay.
But they sell it at Whole Foods.
Right? Oh, the irony.
I mean,
Exactly.
oh boy, so we can't eat anything, huh? So I'm just gonna drink water
If you
with
stick
lemon.
to the foods that don't require you to read a label, you'll be hands down better off.
Let me toss out this bonus question for you really quick.
Okay.
Foods without a label. It's summertime now. Everyone's eating fruits and stuff like that. Seedless. What are your thoughts on seedless grapes, seedless watermelon, seedless this, seedless that?
So it's interesting you say that. Things naturally do not grow without seeds.
Correct.
Hello, that part.
So is it seedless because somebody went in and picked out all the seeds from the watermelon? Probably not. It was probably modified in some way to grow without seeds. So that is not nature, but not all grapes have giant seeds. So it's a little different for like a watermelon versus like grapes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just think like go back to nature.
HLS, as she said, we can't even call it a crop. It's a substance. Okay? If it's seedless, it's a substance.
This is true, but you can't find anything with seeds anymore.
Yeah. We're in a tough world right now.
Yeah.
Here's the thing though, and we're going to wrap this up. I want a final thought from each one of you. It's a tough world because this is where the money goes. If we stop giving the money to these companies, if we start to put the money in our farmers and going to farmers markets or looking for actual real whole foods, we're going to create more of that market. So there's billions and billions of dollars in the food industry and tons of lobby, like the sugar lobby is just as powerful as pharmaceuticals, maybe even more. And so we have to start as consumers shifting what we're purchasing in order to start seeing different things available.
Let's start a revolution, people.
I'm with it.
And by the way, on that note too, like if organic is really hard to find or really expensive, go for frozen organic. You still get the organic, it's cheaper, it's going to last you longer. So like for your smoothies, do frozen organic berries.
That's a good point. That's a good point. But
Life
you're
hacks
telling us
for
we
you.
can't make smoothies anyways because if you lose the fiber.
On occasion, we're going to use on occasion when we have the smoothie, you know.
Okay.
Awesome. All right.
For those recalls.
Right. All right. Final thought from all of you. So Juve, go first.
Oh my goodness. So my final thought is I am going to start a journey, a healthy eating journey in which I empty out all of my cupboards because everything in the cupboards are no good for me. So we're just going to have a wholesale fire sale to the dumpster. That's my final thought.
I love it. I'm going to comment back with words to live by, fridge first.
Okay.
When we're hungry, fridge first. Teach your kids, fridge first.
That's a good one.
That is good.
All right, Randy, HLS.
I think for me, I have to drink more water. Because if I drink more water, I'll be fuller and I won't be reaching for the Lenny Larry's, the tortillas, or the dried apricots.
Protein, fiber, and water. Yes.
You need the fiber. That's what.
Right. Listen,
makes your body think
hydration, a lot of times we confuse being thirsty with being hungry. So you're probably onto something, but also that whole thing of like drink water instead of eating. Please eat. Like chew your food. Okay.
Okay.
Awesome. All right. P, the logical genius, wrap it up.
Man, I don't know what to say. I don't know what my final thoughts are because for someone who tries to be conscious of what they eat, only to realize that, you're not really doing a good job.
Progress.
It's so much work to begin with, and having to do this, it's more work. But I think at the end of the day, I think if you're a healthy, conscious person, I think it's worth it. I think you have to take care of your body. You have to want to take care of your body. And, some people go to the gym and like to work out and be healthy in that regard and disregard the eating part of it. So I have to look at it that way and say, be more conscious of what I'm eating.
Awesome. Yes. Well said. Mic drop on that one. And like we said, listen, skip the foods that have labels that we have to figure out.
Yeah, that's smart.
Does this include the ones with the high price tags?
Right.
But technically, that's a label, right?
Right. Well, and then ignore the packaging, all the marketing on the front.
Yeah.
You know. All right. So this brings us to our nutrition nugget. So on Friday, we're talking about corn. So there's actually quite a bit to talk about with corn. I know, you guessed it. So is it a vegetable? Is it a grain? Is it nutritious or is it starchy that people should avoid? Right? And why do we see it in our poop? Right? I got you covered.
Thank you.
Right?
Thank you.
I know. So I got you covered. On Friday, we're going to answer all your questions about corn. Be sure to click the follow or plus sign on the app that you're using, and then your app will alert you when the Nutrition Nugget goes live on Friday.
So if you're wondering why we're chuckling, people, please check out episode 38 at the My 5 Cents podcast. We had the lovely Jenn Trepeck on, who ripped our list to shreds. But that corn, I'm living by that corn right there. So check it out, people.
Nickname is the Shredder.
Right. Oh, man. Well, as always, everybody, I'm your host, Jenn Trepeck. Connect with me on Instagram or all social media. I'm at Jenn Trepeck, JENNTREPECK. Website, asaladwithasideofries.com. You can also click the merch tab over there, get to the merch, or click the contact tab and send a message because I want to hear your ideas, your takeaways, what questions you have. Thank you again to the gentlemen of the My 5 Cents podcast for joining me for this one. Tell everybody where to connect with you, how to hear your show, all the things.
No, thank you, Jenn, for having us. You can find us on all the streaming platforms. Once again, you can find us with Jenn in episode 38 at the My 5 Cents podcast. You can go ahead and follow us on Instagram and all the social media. We are the My 5 Cents podcast. Listen in to join in on the conversation.
Awesome. Of course, if you're not already, join our membership program by going to glow.fm/saladwithasideofries to show your support for this podcast, this community, but most importantly, support your health. You'll get this week's recipe for the tomato salad with grilled corn, feta, and hazelnuts, and the article, 5 health tips for your holiday weekend. So until next week, remember, those marketers, what they want you to eat and what you want to eat are probably not the same thing. So read those labels and decide for yourself what's best for your health.
Well, friends, that's it for today's episode of Salad with a Side of Fries. Congratulations for making yourself and your health a priority. Thanks so much for joining us. Be sure to click subscribe or follow on your favorite podcast platform. Share us with a friend, and we'll be back next week. Always remember, you deserve it, and you are worth it. Happy healthy.